Carissa again, Southern Homegrown. In today's video, I want to discuss as far as the chemicals and the hormones and the different things in your body involved in the process of labor and birth and how they work, and the benefits of a quiet and common environment versus lots of lights and things, and the effect of fear actually as well. You know, that's why I say it's really important to work through those things. Like if you have any fears concerning your births or from a previous birth, you know, it's good to start working through those things now. You know, write those down and process them as you go. Research it so that you're well educated and informed and comfortable with your decisions and the choices that you've made. But like I said, today I want to start with the fear and safety cycle. You know, an uncomfortable environment in labor, you know, such as one with bright lights, loud noises, restrictions, the lack of support, feeling like you have to fight for every choice you've made. You know, it affects the neurocortex in your brain, you know, the thinking part of your brain, and it causes it to become stimulated. It causes you to start thinking over these things and mulling over them, and then you worry about it, and then all of a sudden these hormones, which we're going to talk about today, you know, they come into effect and they start diminishing. One of the hormones that, you know, I want to talk about is the oxytocin, and also your endorphins in your body. Oxytocin is a natural hormone in your body that is produced during labor, and you know, it's the hormone of love. You know, it's the hormone that's released during sexual activity, or you know, when you hear your baby cry, or when you're skin to skin. You know, it's released in your body, and it's one of the hormones that helps with labor. It helps, you know, these things help loosen and relax, and helps the cervix open, and helps, you know, things go the way they need to go. And when this hormone is inhibited because the thinking side of your brain has took over and worry, and you know, when you worry, then you know that's gonna, you know, emit something different, and it's gonna shut things down basically. To labor the most effective and to allow your body to do the work that it's supposed to, the neurocortex should receive as little stimulation as possible. You know, because birth is a primal thing. You know, like you need to get in your zone, in your space, so that you can just get in that primal zone to where, you know, the hormones start flowing like they're supposed to, and you just kind of get lost in the process. You know, that side of your brain just shuts down, and you're able to just do what your body was naturally meant to do. You know, because it starts with your emotional response. You might have like fear, anxiety, uncertain, unsafe, or unsupported, you know, and then it goes around to your hormonal release, because when you get this, you know, your stress hormones, like your fight or flight kicks in, and you're like, oh no, what now, you know? So you're in fight or flight mode instead of in peaceful relaxation. And then your physical response, you know, your heart rate will go up, your respiration, it will decrease blood flow to the uterus, which is not good because your uterus needs blood flow. So the results of all this is tension, sore muscles, you get tired a lot easier, increased pain, and just overall less effective labor. You know, it makes it harder and longer than it really needs to be. So that's why it's really important for the environment that you labor in to be, you know, peaceful and calm, low light. We like to have the lights low, and you know, possibly if you like to have some soothing music playing, and you need to be comfortable with the people that are in the room with you, so that you are able to get into that primal state, that, you know, shut that side of your brain down. you know, the safety and peace cycle, you know, like I said, it's really important to have that supportive and peaceful environment in labor, you know, where you give them encouragement and compassion, and, you know, it'll feed the cycle, and it'll increase that anxiety, and, you know, it'll increase that activity in the neural cortex so that you are able to get back to that state, you know, and it allows the activity to shift to, you know, to your hindbrain, you know, where you can be free to follow your instincts and, you know, the urges, and follow the need of your body, and be able to tap into your body and know just what your body's needing or wanting at that time to be able to get the baby through the birth canal and out, you know. And it's also important to slow down that, you know, make sure the process goes at the speed that it needs to go. It's not hurried up because somebody needs to, you know, somebody's fixing to go off the clock. It's not, you know, it takes the time that it's supposed to take in order for the babies, you know, to be able to, the head to mold and form the way it needs to go through the birth canal, but we'll talk about that in a little bit too. But like I said, the emotional response, you know, to feel safe and calm and confident and peaceful in your decisions and in your environment. Then there's hormones that are released, like we talked about, the oxytocin and the endorphins, which will, you know, prepare your body and do the things that it needs to do. Then the physical response is that the muscles will loosen and relax, and your cervix will open, and the process will just move along the way it's meant to move along. And, you know, the result is you'll be relaxed, your confidence will be built, you know, you'll decrease pain, have more effective labor. Not only, you know, you'll have the more effective labor, and it'll be better on yourself, but as well as better on the baby, because it's not being pushed out too fast that it's not able to mold, or, you know, that it's able to actually squeeze out the way it's supposed to through the, you know, we'll talk about all that later. But anyway, you know, so like we said, comfortable, dim, quiet, and supportive environment, warm, you know, the right temperature, with support and respect, you know, for your decisions, and you don't have to fight for your decisions, and, you know, the things that you've decided, and you're able to calmly and peacefully go through this beautiful experience that you're about to go through. You know, that's what's, like I said, really important to feel at ease and be educated in your decisions so that you can conquer that fear. I know there was an article about a lady that I had read, and, you know, she referred to fear as a tiger, you know, and as far as taming your tiger, you know, in other words, get those fears under control before time, and be prepared in everything. So yeah, so that's kind of what we were talking about today, as far as hormones that are released, as far as the bright lights and the disruptions during labor, to keep those to a minimum. And then the hormones that are secreted will be able to be secreted, the oxytocin will be able to be secreted and do as your body should. Now, there is Pitocin that is used in the hospital, which is the synthetic version of oxytocin, your body's natural hormone. And at times, the doctor will sometimes, if they feel they need to speed up your labor, they will give you this synthetic version of oxytocin called Pitocin, in an IV or something. And generally, though, when this happens, those contractions are unusually strong and terribly painful. And not only that, but they're causing more pressure on the baby as the uterus contracts harder. And it's causing more pressure and more undue things on the baby, as far as, like, you know, you could see, you know, the heart rate not be as it should. You know, you may have issues with that, or, you know, in other words, it leads to more interventions, and then they just kind of cascade as you go, which eventually leads to possibly a C-section. And that is, you know, in its place, there is a time and a place for C-sections, but with natural, you know, most uncomplicated births, there's no need for that, and no need for the Pitocin. As long as you let it run its course the way it needs to be, it'll take as long as it needs to take. Babies come when they come, you know, and if that baby needed a little longer time, then that's what that baby needed. And also the fetal lung proteins, you know, when the baby's lungs are fully developed, there's a hormone or whatever that is emitted from the baby's lungs, which is said to also stimulate labor. So, you know, when the instance of where people are induced before they're actually due, or actually the baby is ready to come out, you know, like as far as these scheduled inductions, oh wait, let's go ahead and induce on a certain day because, you know, I can plan my vacation at that time. You know, well, what if the baby's not actually ready to be born? What if, you know, that protein in the lungs hasn't been emitted to cause labor? You know, what if the lungs are not completely developed? You know, it could cause issues later on as far as, you know, respiratory issues and things like that that could possibly affect the baby later on, you know. So it's always good just to let neighbors take their course. No, let nature take its course as far as in labor. I mean, you know, monitor, and, you know, that's why it's really important, you know, to have your prenatal care with your midwife or whoever you choose. But basically just let it happen naturally, you know, barring any complications such as preeclampsia or like cord prolapse during labor or something like that. You know, most of the time it can generally happen the way it's supposed to, and that way, you know, in the calm environment, you are able to let those chemicals just flow and tap into that, you know, natural instinct, and things most of the time generally go as planned, the way they're supposed to. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to email us at info@southernhomegrown.com, or just send us a comment on the website, southernhomegrown.com. You can go to the contact page. We're just here to support and just help prepare you as much as you can for this journey you're going on. Have a great day. Thanks so much.